Now, Facebook, as you know, is accessed by hundreds of millions of people every single day. But do we tell our digital best friend too much? If anyone is guilty of this, it has to be me. Although Facebook touts itself as a chock full of privacy measures site and security, they know everything about us. You can't believe what they know. Many lambast the NSA for its information overreach, but isn't it time that we also take a closer look at how much information we are so freely giving out in social media? David Owens is on the show from North Carolina, and my very own little Lida Loudon here in studio with us. David and Lida, welcome to the show. Good to have both of you. Now, I want to start by talking about this whole privacy issue. I've been reading more and more about this. Now, this really did happen. A couple of weeks ago, I read on one of my friend's Facebook posts that she and her husband had intentionally had a conversation about something they never talk about ever. And in this particular conversation, they started talking about something very specific, and I can't remember, it was like a blueberries or just something that they had never talked about. And she said that the next day she started receiving ads all over her whenever she go to a website for blueberries. And so recently, David, I want to start with you. I saw a video of some young people asking Nancy Pelosi why she continues funding the NSA, even though she criticized their massive data overreach. And which is more dangerous, I guess, David, is the question. Is it more the NSA or is it more our own social media?
I would say it's more of the NSA. The reason being, I went ahead and I filled out the form on the website for the social media where it tells you about everything that it knows about you. I actually found out that it's more about what you put into it. I don't give out my location or, information like that. And it wasn't on there. It had some pictures. I think it can leave a dangerous trail though. And Facebook took some precautions or are taking some. But the reason I think the NSA is a larger threat is because, Nancy Pelosi just led a group of Democrats to vote to continue to vote against the Amash amendment that would have stopped funding for the portion of the NSA that takes care of that, looks through the personal records and looks into people's personal information. She led that initiative and got the votes needed to get that amendment repealed. And so she obviously lied by saying she didn't have a critical role and she doesn't support it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
She's lying to us, and I think that leaves a lot for us to interpret. So that's why it's a big threat.
But I do think that Facebook is a legitimate concern. Turning to you for a moment, Lida, I want to ask, what exactly are the privacy issues that especially young people are using so much today, Facebook and Twitter and all the rest? What are the privacy concerns on some of those sites?
Well, I think the biggest problem is that people aren't really aware of how much information is basically being sucked out of their devices. Mm-hmm. I heard, I haven't confirmed this, but the new Facebook app update has the capacity to listen to your conversations even when you're not actively using Facebook mm-hmm. or whatever, so that they're also able to record videos or record voice memos or something. But basically, Facebook can listen to you now, and you don't know where that information's going.
And you're talking about the app, just to clarify for those of us that aren't millennials, you're talking about the app that you download onto your iPhone or your other your iPad or
Android device, whatever.
Right. And so it's not your Facebook and your computer can't listen to you, but your app on your phone might be able to listen to you. And
your computer can listen to you too.
So is it recording you? Is it, I mean, what do they do with this data? They're just compiling it, or they're using it for advertising purposes, selling it to advertisers, or what's the purported use of this data?
Well, it's possible for, powerful agencies that you can guess what they are, to tap into your information and watch you through your webcam and whatever. But this basically enables Facebook to listen into your conversations. Basically, whoever they want, they can. And I believe they do sell data and give data and whatever to the NSA and other, federal spy agencies.
Mm-hmm. Well, as was tested by my friend, and I did the same thing the other day. I did the test where I had a conversation with your daddy. It was just a conversation about something we never talked about. We were very careful about what it was we were talking about, that it's not a discussion we ever had. And the very next day, I did get advertisements for that precise thing. So
Yeah.
it is sort of frightening. Back to you, David. I want to ask you, with a vote from Nancy Pelosi taking down the ability to remove the funding for the NSA, the part of it that is invading our privacy, and the fact that in this video, which we're not going to show, it's not the best quality, whatever, but basically she starts out with a smile, Nancy Pelosi, meeting with a group of teenagers, and then this one gentleman named Andrew Demeter, self-described investigative reporter who runs Teen Take on YouTube, that's the video, said, "Why do you support NSA's illegal data collection?" But she was very surprised by the question. And this is my question for you, David. Does she think you're stupid? Does she think you're the useful idiots that Marx described?
Well, I think she does think that we're stupid. I think the entire administration does. You know, Michelle Obama said back a few months ago that kids are knuckleheads and that you can stay on your parents' insurance policy until you're 26. I think the entire administration just really views us as brainless and empty.
But David, is some of that warranted? I'm not speaking about you specifically. I happen to know you're a brilliant, bright, well-raised young man, or I wouldn't even probably have you on this show right now. But you look at the majority of millennials, new study just came out, and it says majority of millennials view that the world looks really good, they think, and that government should take care of them. You think back to that quote, if you're not a liberal at 20, you have no heart, and if you're not a conservative at 40, you have no brain. But most millennials like lots and lots of government. This according to PJ Media and a sample poll that they cited. It talks about 79% think government should be in control of making college affordable. 78% think the government should do the job creation in this country. This is millennials again now. 76% that government should be in control of helping the poor, and on, security for seniors, on, including pollution and other ridiculous things. Is it the case that maybe millennials really do like being taken care of, David?
Yes, that is the case. I believe that most of the millennials have grown up in a phase where large government intervention was a part of their life, and they're dependent on that now. So I think that the sense of entitlement, laziness, and then the government advancing the idea, just like when Michelle Obama said, you can live on your parents' policy until you're 26 years old. Mm-hmm. That same mentality is what has been encouraging young people to be more dependent.
I want to ask you one more follow-up question to that, David. 59% in this study thought government was on their side. Only 41% said they'd like to get government off their back. Do you think government's on your side, David?
No, I do not. You know, the Pew Research Center just released a poll saying that 45% of college graduates between 22 and 27 are unemployed. And furthermore, that was in 2013, excuse me, and that we now have higher levels of poverty, you know, student loan debt and unemployment. So I personally do not believe that government intervention is the best thing for my life.
Light of Freedom Works, we're going to have Matt Kibbe on here in just a moment, published a work that said more sneaky taxes on millennials. They are sneaking in all sorts of taxes, and one of the biggest taxes is, of course, the $17 trillion debt that is strapped around your neck right as we speak. It's going to take so much of your lifetime even just to pay this off. What do you have to say to those that think they can sneak these taxes in the back door and tax your future away before you even have a chance to have a job?
I think, for one thing, sneaky is a really easy thing to be for this generation, because this generation isn't paying attention. If we were paying attention and knew that this debt was going to fall on our heads, and what exactly it means for our country that this debt is continuously piling up beyond what any of us can even imagine, there would be more activism. There would be more young voices out there saying, hey, I'm not okay with this, but we're not. We're distracted by culture and by entertainment and by magazines and all of the very distracting things that are just drawing this generation's attention away from the things that actually matter, like the fact that we're being strapped with the bill for the bad moves government is making right now.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Well, David and Lyda, we're sure glad that you are not the ones who join in some of this useful idiocy, if you want to put it that way. And it's amazing. It seems a little bit like some of it's catching on. David, do you think things are looking up? Almost no time here. Just a comment, please.
Yes, I do believe things are looking up. The recent, actions taken by the administration have really shown a lot of Americans that they can't trust their government, specifically with the whole prisoner exchange situation. That honestly has shaken a lot of the foundations many Obama supporters I know have in their president. So I
Good.
think
Well,
that,
it's good if people are waking up. That's all we can say.
yeah.
David and Lyda, thank you so much.